Meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Here we go. Hey. Welcome everybody to the Really Charlie podcast. Today's guest is Tara Vargas-Wallace from Amplify. She's going to amplify the Really Charlie podcast today with her presence, her intellect, and it's nice to have a guest like her on here
You.
because it's National Women's Month
Yay.
and a day. So you can tip us off and actually welcome, actually encourage that empowerment to women, to minorities, which is
Absolutely. Amen.
which Amplify is all about. So um, I heard great stories about you through my inbox, through friends and family. They were excited that you're on the podcast. So
Oh,
hopefully,
nice.
yeah. You
Thank you.
definitely inspired a lot of people. So um, first, tell the listeners and viewers about yourself, Tara.
Yeah, so let's see. My name is Tara Vargas-Wallace. I am a Puerto Rican woman, originally from the Bronx, moved down to the Cape like 25 years ago, and have really been embraced by this community. And have spent, the past 20 years or more working with in human services, working with marginalized populations and with severe socioeconomic challenges. And it's also how that's where I come from as well. Growing up, you know, not exactly having, growing up in poverty, in a multiracial family, and married to a Black man. We have three beautiful, promising, intelligent daughters,
God bless.
and yeah. So, founder of Amplify, founder and CEO of Amplify POC. POC is an acronym for People of Color,
Mhm.
and I don't want to jump too far ahead, so I'll
No,
I'll
that's
stop
good.
there.
No, it's
But
that
I want to say first and foremost, thank you for having me, Charlie.
of course I you came highly recommended, and
Oh,
you know
that's so
that's
sweet.
what I'm trying to make this podcast inspirational, educational, and occasionally make some laughs out of it and cause people to say, "Really, Charlie?" So,
Okay, I like that. I love what it's about. I love it.
yep. So before this podcast, hopefully, I get you to say, "Really, Charlie?" You
Okay,
know.
really, Charlie.
Yeah. See, there it is already. Um,
So, am I able to share this so that the
yeah,
people on my list, my friends list, can see as well?
yeah. If you share it on your page, and once you share it on your page, everyone on your profile will be able to comment and interact with everything. So,
Okay, great. And do I just go to your page and then share it
yeah,
from there? All right,
exactly.
Charlie. Okay, shared.
And if one of your colleagues want to get invited, they definitely just put invite me on the comment section, and then I'll send them to the link, and they can come on the screen with us. But that's just an option, and so uh,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
So
one of
excited
our
to be on today and talk about one
yeah.
of my favorite things to talk about. So,
And actually, you forgot about your artists, your
yeah,
artistic work. You know, we want to make sure we mention something about that also, and it's all about you.
yeah.
We're gonna highlight everything that you're involved in because
Oh,
it's essential and it's
thank you.
important. So whether it's within the Cape or whether it's somewhere else, we definitely want to make sure that we get the message out. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, I've always been an artist. Lots of different mediums. I I play around in everything. I draw, I paint. I love to write poetry, although I'm definitely not a writer. But I think, when you're someone who is very sort of in touch with what's going on in the world and in your community, you feel things on a deeper level, and so you have to have some sort of an outlet to be able to really help yourself heal, and also help others, that when you're in a position to help others, it's really important that you do some self-care, and you practice self-care, and you do something to let some of that out. And art has always been one of those outlets for me.
True, and that's what I actually use poetry. That's what is allows me to vent, allows me to get over some
Yes,
things, and
for
so
sure.
so CEO Amplify. So how are you amplifying people of color, people within the Cape? Because I know you're not one dimensional. You're probably helping everyone that comes in front of you, trying to do what you can do. And so talk about that.
Yeah, so Amplify POC was started basically in my at my kitchen table. What happened was, I'd already been involved a lot with my local NAACP, and the Massachusetts Coalition for Women of Color, and already just was an activist socially, on a local level and a state level. But after the violence and the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, obviously, nationwide, with all the racial unrest, a lot of people in my community had reached out to me looking for ways that they could be a part of solutions to this, racial unrest. And so one of the things that was often asked was, is there a list of Black businesses that we could support? And locally for the Cape Cod area, after a quick Google search, I realized there wasn't like one place for this list that existed for the Cape Cod region. So there was one for Martha's Vineyard, but not here for the mainland. So I just started to write out a list of, I'm heavily involved in the Black community here on the Cape. So I started to write out a list of businesses that I knew of, friends and family that own businesses. And then I just put out a, a Facebook post and said, hey, if you're, a Black owned business or a person of color who owns a business, reach out to me. I'm compiling a list. And then I had spoken to our president of the NAACP, Mr. John Reed. He's a well-respected
Great
elder.
guy. Great
Yep.
guy.
Okay, good. So you know him, yeah. So
Mhm.
I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, Mr. Reed, I'm putting together this list. What are some suggestions?" And so he actually gave me great advice, and he said, "I'm really proud of you for putting together this list, but you should definitely not exclude other people of color. It shouldn't just be a Black-owned list." And the reason why he said that was because, due to the dynamics of um, the Cape is 92% white, and that is, I feel like that's an inaccurate representation, only because people of color don't complete the census, and that number comes from the census. So, but
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
it's primarily, white people here. And he said, due to the dynamics here on the Cape, there aren't as many Black-owned businesses as you would find in, obviously, urban areas. So he recommended that I call it, that I include all people of color. And my thought was, if as long as I'm marginalizing I'm sorry, as long as I'm amplifying, my goodness, how could I say marginalize? That's the opposite of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
As long as I'm amplifying marginalized groups of people, that was fine with me. So I changed it from a Black-owned list to people of color, and that's where the POC comes in. And so from there, it just steamrolled. I started to do a lot of research on the wealth gap, the racial wealth gap. And I learned that, white households are 10 times wealthier than Black households and 8 times wealthier than Latino households. And I learned that drastic difference in wealth is what is called the racial wealth gap. So it's what's known as the racial wealth gap. And the racial wealth gap can be traced all the way back to 400 years,
Mm-hmm.
The 40 acres and a mule is a prime example of one way that one of the incidences in history that has created this systemic drastic difference in wealth for Black and Indigenous and people of color. Redlining can be traced back to this. I mean, this is all connected. Gentrification, all of these things are connected to this wealth gap. And so after doing this research and learning this, I thought, what else can I do besides compile a list? Like I've got to do more. And so I thought about putting the list, making it an online resource so that it was easily accessible to people out in the community who wanted to patronize these businesses. And then the second thing I thought was, I've got to like create some opportunities for education, for advancement and growth within our communities. So I thought, partnering with local agencies, local nonprofit agencies, with local banks on things, and providing classes on things like, economic literacy, asset and wealth building, home ownership. Ownership is huge. I mean, that's how you reduce the wealth gap, is owning things.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship. Yeah. So once I, had this vision together, I recruited a powerful team of women, and I was intentional in making sure that the women on my board were all the board members on my board were all women, and I'll touch base on the men and the importance of men.
I'll,
But it was
I'll,
important to me. What's that?
I'll dress up as Medea to be on the board, to be
No, well, I'll touch on that in just a second. So it
okay.
was important to me that the women, that the board that I created was all women. And 6 out of 10 of us, actually 7 out of 10 of us now, are women of color. Um, and it was important because women are also marginalized. We're also a minority. And so regardless of your color. And
True.
however, I am in the process of creating an advisory committee that is going to include men and women of all nationalities, because it's important to have all that talent and experience and insight at the table. And I've always lived by that I've always lived by, you always want to hang around people who are smarter than you, because that's how you learn, that's how you grow. And so that was really important when I was when I was recruiting people for my board. It was important to me that, not only their skill sets, and the impact they were making out in the community. And all of these women are all doing wonderful, powerful things out in the community. And I was very intentional in making sure that I was recruiting people who I knew had a passion for racial justice. So they are all involved heavily they're all civil rights activists. They're in some way, shape, or form. And they all have some sort of skill set. For instance, Muska is a lawyer. I have Amanda, who has her master's in public administration. Jean Morrison, who's our board president, she has her master's in education. So there's so many different, and I could go on and on. I mean, these women are phenomenal. They're all doing wonderful things, and I'm just so grateful to have them on. And I definitely do not do this by myself. So I owe it all to them, as well as Michelle Clark, who's our social media guru. I mean, the woman is like amazing. And, all of our volunteers are they bring something of value and worth and passion and dedication and commitment. And that is key when you're trying to build something and when you're trying to amplify people, because everyone has something to bring and offer.
Who came up with Amplify, the name?
That was me. And then I
Right.
found out there's an organization, and we're not affiliated in any way, although we'd love to collaborate or somehow connect. There is an organization in Boston, I believe, is where they're located, called Amplify Latinx.
Okay.
And so yeah, and it sounds like they're from what I've read, they're very instrumental in policy and legislation for the Latin community, the Latinx community. So definitely want to connect with them if they're watching or if someone's
Exactly.
watching from that group. But
Exactly.
no affiliation, and didn't learn about them until after I named it Amplify.
Yeah, and there's positive words that are out there that and they kind of
Yeah, words are
duplicate
powerful.
they duplicate, and you can't help that. And but amplify is amplify, and it's just trying to raise people up, and that's one thing. But I love the name.
Thank you. Oh, and as far as what we do, sorry, you asked that question.
Uh,
Um, so we promote businesses owned by people of color in a few ways. One is we have the online directory, which is our website, Amplify POC Cape Cod.com. And then we also promote them on all of our social media. So we have Amplify Saturdays, which today you'll see Lamont Jones on there. He is a young business entrepreneur, and he helps businesses get started. And so every Saturday we post an entrepreneur of color, and social media seems to be. We also have an Instagram, so we're Amplify POC on Facebook and Amplify POC on Instagram. Um, and all of our features seem to be a big hit. People love to hear the stories of these entrepreneurs, how they got started, what inspired them to get into their business, what struggles they've faced, and what all of the things that they've overcome. These stories are beautiful, and
sure.
we love amplifying those stories. And every week we feature them, not only on our social media, but we also put we put the weekly feature on our website as well. And then, of course, there's the classes. So we've just started brainstorming sessions. We are still in our infancy as an organization as a whole, where we've only been in effect for 8 months now. So we're still brainstorming with other organizations on programming for informational and educational purposes. But our first program is being offered in collaboration with Cape Cod 5, and it's in regards to the Paycheck Protection Program.
Mhm.
And the only reason why that's our very first program is because the deadline is March 31st. So because of the federal deadline, we had to really get it out there right away, um, to see how we can help our local businesses, get some of that money.
Yeah. Oh, here's Devon Senna said he would love to connect with you. And he's also a part of Serve Hub, um, which he was a guest with. He was a guest a few weeks back with a couple of strong-willed and eager gentlemen, very very educated, and
Love
so.
it.
But Devon,
Excellent. Absolutely.
the website's right there on the screen. Um, and I'm very
Thank
proud of
you.
Devon. He's doing some good work too. So
Nice. Thank you. Yes, let's connect.
yes. Now, one of the things I've learned over the years is that the community block grants that are offered through towns and states, and those are definitely something that could help you with.
Yeah, I'll look into that. Someone has mentioned that to me, the community block grants. I think like I said, I mean, we're still in our infancy, so definitely have a lot of opportunities to look into, but absolutely on the list. Thank you for that.
Okay. Let's see. You have so many titles: Cape Cod, or actually Commissioner, Cape Cod and Islands Commission, Staff, Women, and now. Oh, one thing before I forget. Now, your board, is that time limit, time restrictions? Whether it's a 1 year, 2 year commitment. or have you decided on that yet?
So we haven't decided on that yet. We actually have a meeting scheduled March 4th to or March 9th. Oh gosh, in March coming up to discuss all of that. That's all being discussed at our next board meeting. Yeah, we gotta come up with term limits.
Hmm. Good, good, good. I I have excuse me. I was raised by women, so
Mm,
it's my grandmother, my mom, my aunts, majority of them, the people that we I went to was women, and it so when it just the strength is unbelievable, and I always said that if you want to go
that's
to
so
the
sweet.
strength if you want to go to the strength of the family, most likely
That's right.
it's going to be the woman. So and
Oh,
but you keep
that's
up
so
the good
sweet.
work.
Thank
The
you.
So with all this, you're probably a sponge. You're absorbing a lot of things from
For
people.
sure.
And so, how do you put? Well, you probably use your artwork to kind of, vent. Kind of put a
Mm,
vision to your emotions that are going on, and how does it? Is it better for you?
mm.
How does
Huh.
that help you out?
That's a good question. Um, I have days just like everybody else where, it's really hard. I feel discouraged sometimes with everything that's going on out in the world and with everything that goes on in the community. But um, I think, hope. I'm definitely hopeful, and especially now with this new administration. Although I do know about each of their history. I'm not a fool, but I do have some hope that change is coming. And as far as what I do, yeah, so my art, but also I think what really helps is my community involvement. I volunteer a lot, as you mentioned, in all of those boards that I'm on, and that is my way of feeling like I'm doing something. That's another outlet for me. It's my being active and involved in something, and um, helping to implement change is what makes me feel better, and that's how I'm able to really cope, and be able to be a better mom, woman, community member, wife, board member, um, CEO. I mean, that's what helps me is helping people.
Yeah,
There used to be a saying, and I don't. I mean, I know I'm going to chop this quote up, but something about like, when you're in pain, you help others with your pain, and it helps to heal you, and that's so very true. You know,
it is, and just that hands-on, that meeting and greeting, it gives you a story.
right?
Gives you a story with the person, and it also makes you reflect on what you're doing as far as a business. You're saying,
Hmm.
well, see, I am doing the right thing. Or we are doing the right thing. Let me say it. We are doing the right thing because I heard a story yesterday. A man, a woman, they're in need of a lot of things that we're doing, that we're talking about. And so it kind
Mm,
of gives that assurance, that kind of stamp of approval that we're on the right path. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I understand what you're saying, and we
right.
just got to keep on in general, and like you said, there's a there may be some change with this new administration, but we also want to make them accountable too. Just because
Facts.
different faces might be the same result. So we got to
Absolutely.
keep them honest, and
Hmm.
keep them accountable. Uh, and
Must.
yeah, I try to be accountable. When I was campaigning and trying to be a local politician, mayor of the city, I was trying to be accountable. I wanted to
Oh,
make sure that people did. when they listened to me, they held me accountable, and but I was in second place, and it didn't happen. But never say never. Might do it
That's
again.
right. Everything happens for a reason.
That's true. It's so true.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Cape Cod is dear to me also. It's,
Yeah,
I try to make it my second home. And,
nice.
uh, since my great grandfather, we have established some property down there. We have homeowners that are down there.
Nice.
Many family, big family out there. So when I'm going down to Marston's Mills, I take a deep breath, and I'm just so happy to be out there. And
Yeah,
then
it's definitely a beautiful area.
yeah,
I always
no,
say I feel really blessed that I've been able to raise my children here.
yeah, it's nice well, to me, I got to fight the traffic, but
Hmm.
once I touch down, get to the spot, it's like take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, and say I'm here. And
Yes.
so, but
One thing I'd like to just shout out though or not shout out, but point out is the misconception that the Cape is just rich old white people. There's large communities of color here. And not only that, most of the people that live here year round, regardless of color, are struggling. And it's hard to make ends meet here. So I just if there's anything I can do to bust that myth, it's just not true. It's not just a wealthy place. I mean, sure, most of the homeowners here are wealthy because they all own second and third homes here.
hmm
But most of the people who live here year round, a majority of the people who live here year round, are in fact struggling, and having a hard time making ends meet. So, um, yeah, I just want to point that out.
no, and I do know that because
Yeah.
let's just face it, you know, some people in my family are struggling and
Hmm.
trying to get that next gig, that next job, next
Yeah.
paycheck, and so. But I love it out there. I really do, and I wish I owned some property out there, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. Never say never, like you said, Charlie.
So the let's kind of talk about the your next title, your other title rather,
The
which is
commissioner, my commissioner.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so I'm sorry, did you want to ask a question about it? Or you just want me to
No,
go into
I want you to go into it. It's um, title given is a title earned. And I've known that you earned this title, both titles. So talk about it. And
Sure. So the Cape Cod and the Islands Commission on the Status of Women is a commission under the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women. It's an appointed position. I'm not an elected official. I was appointed by the Commonwealth, and so what we do, our main charge for the commission is to um, study the issues that women face in our region, and we're one of 9 other regional commissions throughout the Commonwealth under the Massachusetts State Commission. Um, and so it's our job to study the issues that affect the women the most in our region. And we do that, pre-COVID, we would have public hearings where we would invite people to to come to a location and speak publicly. Um, but because of COVID, we've been having to hold these hearings online, virtually. And another way that we're doing that is through surveys. We're surveying, people in the women in our region, women and girls in our region, to find out, what issues affect them the most. And then we take those surveys and all of those testimonies, and we put them into a report that then gets given to our legislators. And we we promote and advocate for legislation to our legislators that's going to assist, or well, it's not really the better word, that's going to help women with the
Yep.
issues that we're all experiencing. So we help enact legislation that affects women. And sometimes the legislators hear us, sometimes they don't, but we do our best to make sure that we're being seen and heard. And for the most part, it's been a wonderful experience. We have a great relationship with all of our legislators, and we've just started implementing a new thing where we're inviting a legislator to come to our meetings, to our monthly meetings. And so far, so good. We've had a great experience with that. And, they come, they speak for 15 minutes on different legislation pieces that they're working on. And then we get to ask questions and push for or advise on legislation that we feel they should be working on. So, and again, that's based on the testimonies that we hear from our constituents, as well as the surveys.
Good. Good. What's the
Yeah.
official boundaries or lines for the Cape Cod? On actually on with both organizations, with Amplify and the Commission.
Yeah. So for the commission, it's Cape Cod and the island. So it also includes Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. And anything, I guess, before the bridge
Okay.
is what we cover.
All right.
So, what is that? Bourne, we cover, I guess, Bourne and then to Provincetown.
Yeah.
And then it's the same for Amplify. However, I will say, we are expanding. We do have some businesses out in Wareham and Onset that we've put on the list. We don't want to exclude anyone with Amplify POC. That's definitely not what we're trying to do. But there are other initiatives out there that cover those regions. So I also don't want to step on any toes. And I want to respect that other people have started similar initiatives, like Amplify, where they have compiled lists of mostly Black-owned lists of businesses in their area. And so I want to help amplify those initiatives as well, but we also don't want to be exclusive. But I think now with technology and everything being virtual, it seems easier to sort of expand out, but like I said, I do want to respect and help amplify the other initiatives that are ongoing throughout the state, and the country, not just the state. There's so many different initiatives starting up. I will say one thing about that I have noticed that's different about Amplify and these other initiatives is we have that educational component that is connected with our services, whereas some of the other initiatives have something different. They might have, we all have the directory of businesses, but they might have something else, like they might have a podcast or a retail store, or so we all have something different that the other isn't doing, which I think is also great. It's a way that we can sort of cover all bases.
Well, I can definitely be your official podcast. You just let me know,
Yay!
and we could definitely do something.
Definitely.
We can.
Really, Charlie? That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Regardless, I don't have to be the host. You can be the host with the podcast. It just has really Charlie on it, so I want to kind of put that out there. Whatever is
Thank
on your
you.
mind, whatever is your brainstorm, the committee's brainstorm, please, reach out to me, and we can do this.
I will.
Yeah. It
I'm
might
going to
be
hold you
just
to that.
all right. It may just be an event we're doing. You might want to get something out there, share it with other
For
people.
sure.
All right.
Yes.
So you're friends with Paula Pina.
Yeah.
Now, she's full of energy, full of intellect.
Paula,
Uh,
is she watching? If she is,
she
what's up,
might.
Paula? Yeah,
He
she's
might
the
be.
one who reached out to me and told me, while I was watching your live stream with her on it, and I was like, what's this here? And it was her and um
Jeremy
um,
Costa.
yeah, Jeremy. Yep. And I
So,
thought, oh, let me pay attention to this. I see Jeremy's doing some good work in his community as well. And so I've been
yeah.
really watching him and seeing what he's been doing, and, admiring his work from afar. So, um, yeah, I thought, let me tune in here. And I tuned into that podcast with all three of you. And then, Paula said, we got to get you on. We got to get you on Really Charlie. I was like, sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna.
It's funny, Paula actually used to date my husband.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Paula is one of his ex-girlfriends. Yep. Too
So you got.
funny.
So you must have shared some stories at one point.
Nothing,
It is.
no, nothing. No drama, no drama.
No, no, it's all good.
It's all good.
Yep. It's he's your first round draft pick. You're his first round draft pick.
Yeah.
I'm glad it all coming together. And
Yep.
but Paula is she's so inspiring to me. You know,
Yeah.
and I get to sit with her. We talk about a lot of things, and it definitely she definitely a good spark. So you got good
Nice.
company, good company, and she praised you from A to
Oh,
Z, and I'm so happy.
she's so sweet. Thank you, Paula. I appreciate you. You watching.
Yeah. So what do we let's see. Amplify does quite a few things that
Mhm.
I'm gonna make sure I continue to keep sharing. Um,
Please do.
so let's get into the artwork here.
The artwork. Oh boy.
Let's get
I
into that.
actually
Go ahead.
I haven't done much art since I started Amplify. The other night was like the first. I did a paint pour, and it was, I'd had a really stressful week, and I was just like, I need to do something to just shut out the world. And that was the first time I painted in probably, 8 or 9 months. I've just been so focused on Amplify and all of my other duties that I haven't really given myself enough time, which is horrible, to sit here and promote self-care is so important. And then, we're always the last to take care of ourselves, which is
What?
probably not good advice, but or a good thing to do. But yeah, so the other night I just dived in and I for the first time painted for the first time in a long time. But I
Well,
used to I was in a gallery a year ago. What's that?
you could you could do a paint party with Amplify, one of your
Yeah.
music, and guess what? But you can't be the teacher. Got to bring someone in because you want to paint.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that stress of
So
trying to teach
true.
somebody. So you bring someone in there and you do a paint party. So
That's a great
go ahead.
idea.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, 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 that's fine. Sometimes I just get going and it's like, you gotta tell me to like chill. Because when I
Yeah,
talk about the things that I'm passionate about, I just sometimes can't stop. But yeah, so I mean, I've actually I did a paint pouring workshop with another person that who's also a paint. She's an artist, a local artist around here, and um, it was right before the pandemic. We had this paint pouring workshop, and it was really fun. Like being teaching it and just having fun and letting loose and it was my first time teaching the art and I definitely liked it, but I agree with you now, especially that I don't have a lot of time to put into the art form. I definitely want to be a student next time, so I love that idea.
yeah. A friend of mine, Eden Shores, he does those, and
Oh,
yeah, he's so I'm pretty sure he definitely take a ride to the Cape and kind of help you guys
yeah.
out. Yeah. So
I can't wait till we can have in-person events again. I mean, it's just I think that's what I miss the most is that human connection. Zoom is great, but it gets really tiring, and you know, I we've got to stay safe and definitely follow precautions. But I cannot wait for the day for us to be over this pandemic.
So true. We're kind of meet and greet type people, and so
Yeah,
the virtual thing is what it is. But we want to meet and greet. Definitely want to feed people. Want to
yeah,
interact. Toast with a wine glass or two.
right.
And just kind of enjoy each other, enjoy the company.
Yeah,
Um,
hugs. I miss hugs.
yeah, yeah, uh, that's that's me all day. I definitely.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. So come here, give me a hug. It's the way. It's my upbringing, and I love it. And uh, so I'm pretty sure you're the same way.
Human
Um,
connection. Yeah, absolutely.
has your daughter's taken on the artwork?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They're better artists than me.
Oh, yeah.
My oldest daughter is, she's very, 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 I mean, all of my girls are talented, but, and I'm not just saying that because I'm their mom, they really are, but, but my oldest daughter seems to be the one that has, really, embraced it more in her life. She's very, very creative. She's doing creative writing in school, and she did this crazy class in school where she's at the local community college. Um, One of the projects that she had to do was to recreate her own portrait, and she chose to do it in a way that was so interesting. She created her own self-portrait in words. So you see
Wow.
an image, but it's all made up in words, and it's so dope. Like, it's just really
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, the kids are really, they give me hope. I feel like, not even just my own kids, kids out, the youth today is just so bold and courageous, and they're so inspiring in terms of demanding accountability and change. And I'm so inspired by the ones coming up after me, after us, who are gonna really, I feel like they're really gonna be the ones to make that real impact.
Yeah, they're paying attention,
Yeah,
and actually, sometimes what happens is with things that when they're going through roller coaster rides, whether it's society and so on and so forth. Sometimes those are the best teachers, where everything's not just smooth sailing, when we kind of go up and down in life, whether it's, you know, fighting different issues, it becomes the best teacher, for
yeah,
someone growing up. So,
absolutely. Your
but,
experiences, your life experiences, yeah.
so, well, is
Speaking
there
of
any,
you,
yeah,
um, I should probably also say, so Amplify, one of our initiatives is we're going to be starting a campaign. This is still in the beginning stages, for BIPOC students, for scholarships for school, as well as for aspiring entrepreneurs, so that we can help them with startup costs. So that's something that we are going to be putting together in the near future. And currently, what Amplify is looking for are two student volunteers, um, who, one for social media to help us with our social media, and another for photography to help us with photographing our entrepreneurs for our Saturday Amplify Saturday profile. And we will be able to offer $1,000 scholarships to each. We're looking for two volunteers. So if anyone's, local, wants to help, or if you're able, if the social media volunteer is really remote. So as long as it's someone, obviously all are welcome to apply, but BIPOC students are encouraged highly to apply. We can't discriminate against anyone.
hmm
But if you're interested, the photography one, obviously that's not remote. We are going to need someone to, be local here on the Cape, who's going to be able to have their own transportation to get to and from all these businesses to take their photographs. And obviously, we are going to require that they, stay safe and use COVID precautions when they do that. And both of these positions, volunteer positions, like I said, even though they're volunteer positions, we are offering scholarships, and we're also offering training to them that they'll be able to, put on their resume and take with them further in the future for jobs in school, as well as a recommendation letter. So they'll leave with, a nice little start to their resume.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. So I'm gonna pay attention so I can kind of throw it
Yeah.
out there. I'm actually take that and put it on my family page because someone may,
Thank you.
especially being from down there, they
Yeah.
definitely may need it. So uh,
Thank you.
I
Thank you. Much appreciated.
yeah, I like photography. I dibble and dabble with it a little bit. Take pictures, share them.
Me too. We have a
Maybe.
great photographer for Amplify. Her name's Rachel Devaney. She's one of my good friends, and she's like phenomenal. She's a photojournalist. She actually has an exhibit at the Wampanoag Trading Post that ends this month. But her work is, just amazing. She chronicles her own journey and family story as an immigrant from El Salvador who was adopted by a white family, and how she met the story of meeting her biological family,
Hmm.
and then their stories of immigration from El Salvador. I mean, it's powerful. And she also chronicled, a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests that were here on the Cape. Um, but yeah, photography is such a powerful way to. It's a beautiful art form, but it's also such a powerful way to really share those stories.
Thank you. You just gave me a future guest.
Yes, I can give you a whole list.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna remember that. I won't forget that. So, Tara, I want this message to go out, and it will. But I also want to give you an opportunity as we conclude with this podcast. Um, you know, what other ways or what message you want to get out to the folks in Cape Cod or just the folks in general on this virtual podcast, and you know, what message you want to send to them.
My message is to be intentional and mindful in who you choose to do business with, and that you help by supporting businesses owned by people of color, whether it's looking for a landscaper or going to buy, hair products. Um, be intentional and help reduce that wealth gap by patronizing these businesses and allowing them to succeed, and giving them that opportunity that has been stolen from us for so long. Um, and also, if you're someone in power or someone who has some sort of leadership role, my message to you is to reach your hand back and lift someone of color up, promote them, give them opportunities, and do what you can to amplify the people of color, Black, Indigenous, and all people of color in your own community. So that's my message.
Good. Well, your
Thank you,
message.
Charlie.
Thank you, and your message will be preserved on YouTube
Thank you.
on my podcast. So if you ever need it later on, you kind of want to throw it out there, share it. You definitely can. I want to thank you for your time because I know Monday through Friday you're quite busy, and I'm taking up some of your weekend time. But we
No,
can do this again.
no
We can do
worries.
we can do this again, and all it takes is a message. Let me know and say, hey,
Will do.
I want to, whether it's you and a few others, no matter what it is.
Would love that.
I can have 10 people on this podcast, 6 on the screen, so it may just be
Nice.
a discussion, but definitely please keep in touch. I want to be your
I
new friend.
will. You are. Thank you so much, Charlie. I really appreciate you for inviting me on the show and for allowing me this opportunity to come speak with you today.
Awesome. All right. God bless. Take care of that beautiful family.
You as well.
Mask
Take
your
care.
beautiful face and take care.
Likewise.
God bless.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. Great guest. I'm actually very happy that friends, and that's what you got to do. Friends have to kind of share, do that networking, say, hey, talk to this person, talk to that person, and you never know what you're going to get. And with Tara, we got a whole lot of information that could be beneficial to so many people um, along Cape Cod, and financially, it, it it helps them out. It helps out Cape Cod. It does a lot of things. So I'm very very happy of this podcast, and I want you all to tune in. Tune in. Every Saturday, but with me, it's me. I'm do a flash podcast in a minute. So tomorrow's guest at 3 p.m. Eastern Time will be Bella Montero, author of Who Am I? Cape Verdean woman, Angolan. She's definitely, her book was unbelievable. I read it from cover to cover, and I can't wait to have her on tomorrow as my guest. So, as I say, mask those beautiful faces, hand sanitize and wash your hands. Stay safe, y'all. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow on the Really Charlie podcast. Take care.